Greetings, viewers. We're back again with another episode of The Gambia We Want. We have quite a string of issues to discuss, and we'll try to compact them and see how far we can go with them. But before I proceed, I want the normal guests you've been having here for quite a while to say something to the viewers. I start with Mr. Mani on my right.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, our viewers from around the world. We're back again, and it's a pleasure to be with you again. Thank you for welcoming in your homes, and we look forward to another very interesting discussion with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mani. Thank you very much. Mr. Cisse, you have something to tell you?
Thank you, Lamin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to Eco TV listeners and viewers. It's good to be back. And we thank you very much for allowing us to be in your living rooms.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I think before we start, I also want to welcome you back. We missed you on this platform. It's good to have you back.
Thank you very much.
He was engaged in other things and other assignments. Now he's back.
I know.
Welcome back, and good to have you back.
You know, that's the interesting thing with UDP. You have so many challenges that anybody
Absolutely.
can just be busy somewhere else. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Welcome
indeed.
back.
As I said, we have a long list of issues to discuss, very interesting issues. But before we proceed, today is a very sad day for the political fraternity of this country. We've lost a very, very important person, somebody who's a household name in Gambian politics.
Absolutely.
Who passed away yesterday. And I thought before we proceed with the discussions, perhaps we can say a few words about him. That is Mr. MC Cham. If you would like to put in a few words, Mr. Mani.
Yes, I really would want to do that. And first of all, I want to present my condolences to his immediate biological family and to the wider family of the Gambians, the politicians, the ordinary Gambians, the Gambians of every day. Mr. Cham is a household name in this country, one of the fathers of our independence. He, with Sir Dawda and a few other people, were the ones who traveled to the UK to negotiate our independence from Great Britain. He went on to become a very prominent politician in this country, occupied so many ministries, most famous among which was the Ministry of Finance. And he did some amazing things there. And this is what we have as a heritage, people like him whose trademark was integrity, love for the country, selfless service to the country, and they gave it their best. They did that for as long as they were able to. And he was a stalwart of PPP, a stalwart of the Gambian independence and Gambian progress, until they were unfortunately removed by a military coup. And he stayed dignified in the background in spite of everything that he went through. So we want to keep the best memories we have of them when they fought for this country, when they put everything on the line for this country, when they went out of their way to make sure that the Gambia became what we wanted it to be, which we are doing today, the Gambia we want. That is what they were doing. They were working for the Gambia we want. They started the whole process. We're continuing it today, fighting for the Gambia we want. But they were the people who set the tone. We say to his family and to the whole of the Gambia, we wish him, may Allah grant him Jannatul Firdaus.
Okay, thank you very much.
May his departure lead him to a better place than he was here. May Jannah be his final abode. May the Lord comfort and console his family, the nuclear family and the Gambian family at large. I say to you all, stay strong for him. He was a great man, a fighter, and we continue to fight in his name. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mani. That was a moving condolence speech about a great man indeed. So perhaps we can have Mr. Cisse if you want to throw in a few
I think he
words.
said it
Yes,
all.
Just
Just to say, aside from extending personal condolences, the condolences of the party, party has issued a statement, I think yesterday, to his family and to those of us who know Uncle MC. We know him for being a principled individual.
Very.
I have an anecdotal thing to say. We were in St. Augustine's. I remember distinctly Form 4. He was Minister for Education at the time. And there was a lot of resistance in introducing African studies in the curriculum. And Uncle MC came, literally was kicking the doors, looking for Father Tammy. And eventually we got African studies in the curriculum.
I know.
So, it's a sad loss for the country.
Indeed.
We have to look up to principled individuals like him. Sadauda, Sirif Sise, Aman Kani,
Singate,
Asan Musa Kamara. These are the stalwarts of principled politics in the country.
Exactly.
And you have other guys
SM Diba,
SM Diba,
MC Jallo,
Aliou Baranjai, and
MC Jallo.
These are the guys who made the Gambia what it is. It's just that we have 30 years of bad governance after their period. And that is what we are having to deal with. So our condolences to...
And you know, yesterday we were working with party leader, Mr. Dabo. Most of the day from the morning, we went to the mosque, came back, we started to continue working. And shortly after we came back from the Juma prayers, he got a call that Mr. Cham was not feeling well. He just ended the meeting immediately and raced out there to go be with him. That just shows how close they were and how loyal he is to friends. You know, he used to call him his big brother. He ended the meeting abruptly when he had that message and he raced out. He was even supposed to have had an interview today with Eco TV, and even that was postponed because he didn't know what it was going to be. So I say to him, to Mr. Dabo, my condolences for your loss, because it's a big loss for him too.
Thank you very much indeed. That's as Larry also mentioned, there are a lot of anecdotes about Mr. Cham indeed. Sometimes in the period of sadness, one would elevate your feelings with remembering him in a very good light indeed. You know, everybody remembered him. And those were the days, especially when you have politics of conviction, not politics of trying to lead.
Conviction and principle.
Principle, yes, and very patriotic about it too. So he was very well known for that, and he was very well known for standing up for people, whether individuals, country, or a group of people. I have a lot of anecdotes about that too, but anyway, we pray that the family would be given the strength to bear the loss, and we pray for the entire family and for him. So thank you. Now, perhaps we can now proceed. As I said, we have quite a list of topics to cover. Next topic on the list is Bissau, Guinea-Bissau. After the tribute to Mr. Cham, I think the latest incident about Guinea-Bissau is something that we need to pay a great deal of attention to, because I know our UDP is always proactive. So maybe we'll start thinking about what are the implications for the sub-region generally and also for the Gambia in particular.
Yes.
So perhaps we can talk something about that.
Guinea-Bissau is both a sad and a revolting situation at the same time. Sad in the sense that the African Union, ECOWAS, or rather from ECOWAS to African Union and United Nations, everybody is seeing what's happening in Guinea-Bissau, and nobody's saying exactly what needs to be said. And this has been going on for almost 6-7 years now. In 2019, Umar Sissoho Embalo went into elections with the PAIGC candidate, Simons Pereira, and in the first round, he got 27% of the vote. The PAIGC candidate got over 40% of the vote. But they needed 50 plus 1. So they had to go out for a runoff.
Yeah.
In the runoff, miraculously, he managed to get, they said, 54%, which is reminiscent of what happened with Alpha Condé in Guinea. Alpha Condé in Guinea, in his first election with Seydou Dalein Diallo, he got 25% of the vote. No, 23% of the vote. Seydou Dalein Diallo got 41. In the second round, he came out of nowhere, suspiciously, to win the elections hands down in the second round. In the case of Guinea-Bissau, the same thing. This gentleman had 27% of the vote in the first round, and the PAIGC candidate, Pereira, got over 40%. Second round, he came out of nowhere, he said he had 54% of the vote. It was contested, and he went to declare himself president in a hotel. And Pereira also declared himself president, so we had two presidents for the same time. And then he got the army to move him to State House, and he installed himself Manu Military in State House. And the conflicts, his reign started with a conflict. And after that, PAIGC controlled parliament, and they got into conflict, and he, against all the laws of the country, dissolved parliament, because he had no right to dissolve parliament, but he dissolved parliament to take control of the whole situation. Again, the ECOWAS authorities, AU and UN all sat there, nobody said a word. They let him get away with it. He started flouting the constitution, and they let him do it. It's like if you're a sitting president, you can do anything. And it's a club of presidents, so they don't bother. After that, of course, that emboldened him. End of his term, he just refused to step down because he said he was going to be a one-time president. Every time he said, well, actually, I'm extending my term. Unconstitutionally, he unilaterally extended his term in office by 1.5, almost 2 years. He stayed in office before organizing elections. When he said he wasn't going to run. But when he eventually decided to run, he extended his term of office by 1.5 years to 2 years and ran for elections. And he disqualified the other people who potentially could have won against him, including the Pereira guy from PAIGC and all other candidates who were likely to win against him. He disqualified them. They couldn't even run. Reminiscent of what we saw in Senegal with Macky Sall. When he disqualified Ousmane Sonko and all, Khalifa Saleh and all of those people. He disqualified all of them. He didn't want competition. So he wanted to have chaos. And when that didn't work, Macky said, well, if you don't allow me to run and do the right thing, there are organized forces who can take over.
Yes, he said
he was inviting the army to take over.
Yeah, he said
that did not happen because the Senegalese army stayed Republican and very professional. In the case of Guinea-Bissau, this guy installed himself as president against all odds. He dissolved the parliament when he could not do that. He extended his stay by almost 2 years in office, unilaterally and unconstitutionally. He went for elections second term. He disqualified his main opponents. He lost the election because Da Costa is believed to have won it over 60% of the votes. He knew he was losing, and he was going to go out of office, and he feared accountability for all that they did in that country. He organized a coup d'etat with the support of the army officials who were close to him, head of the presidential guard, his chief of staff, and all. They organized the coup d'etat. And they declared, they didn't declare, he sat there. The person who was supposed to have been overthrown was with his phone calling Jeune Afrique, France 24, and other media houses, telling them, oh, I've been deposed and I've been arrested. I said, give me a break. Who gets overthrown in a coup d'etat and they leave your phone to call people around?
In fact, President Jonathan, former president of Nigeria, said the same thing. He was very furious about it. Very furious.
When you get deposed,
he was caught in the process.
Yeah, he was very furious.
When you get deposed, the first thing they do, they cut all communication ties between you and the outside world. They cut off your phone lines, they seize your phones, they lock you up in a place where you cannot communicate with anybody. You are incommunicado. But no, this guy was sitting there calling media houses, telling them, I've been deposed, I've been arrested.
Okay.
And then they arrested with him the opposition leaders and some of his officials, just to make, for good measure. They arrested the Minister of Interior, I think Finance, and a few people, just to make it look good.
Good, yeah.
And then a few hours after that, he was exfiltrated.
He was
lifted from Guinea-Bissau to Dakar. Dakar of all places. Why Dakar?
After being denied in several countries.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He was denied in
Yeah. After what Dakar went through with Maki, the difficulties they went through, they should be the last place that this guy would be allowed to go to. Even Yaya Jammeh, who is next door to Senegal, after they deposed him here, they refused to accept him in Senegal or in ECOWAS countries. He had to go to Equatorial Guinea. But this guy was exfiltrated to Senegal, and now he's living a quiet, comfortable life there. And the opposition party leaders who won the elections are under arrest up to now.
Up to now. Okay.
The candidate who won is in hiding. And the UN, ECOWAS, AU are all mute about it. We encourage that illegality. We don't speak up against it. This is how we are trending in Africa. If we continue like this, and every other dictator in Africa who does all the wrong things and fears accountability, when he loses elections, he brings in the army to take over. Okay. We have our elections next year. Is this the sort of thing that we'll be looking at? Is this going to be the same thing that ECOWAS
one has to be proactive about it.
What we need to tell our IEC is that there's absolutely no reason for any IEC in this world, particularly not in the Gambia, to sit for days before announcing results. If the IEC in Guinea-Bissau had announced the results earlier, this would not have happened. If the IEC in the Gambia plans to hold on to the results for 24 hours, well, they will be in trouble because we will declare the results. We will not let this happen.
They are saying that in their campaign thing that that will not be allowed. I don't know how they can stop it.
What will not be allowed?
That somebody else can announce the results.
Let them speak.
Social media. I wonder how they will do
themselves.
Yeah,
we all get the same raw material from the polling station. What we get is what they get. That's what IEC gets. If IEC doesn't do its job to declare the result, we will declare the results. Because we get the same raw material. We are going to sit back and let anybody cook the results and give us what they did in 2021.
Well,
cheating is over in this country.
That's the message for
IEC. Exactly. And IEC should understand that. They have a role to play in this country to safeguard the democracy and the peace and stability in this country. They have to do that. Nobody wants chaos in this country. Nobody wants bloodshed. Nobody wants a military takeover, anything of the sort.
Apparently the deputy chair has a lot of experience with conflict areas.
Yes, the deputy chair, Chairman Jallo, was in DRC. He saw what election malpractices and all the other things did to that country. DRC is a failed state. He saw it in Central Africa. He saw it all over the place. So he knows what that can do. So I hope he would do the right thing for his country and make sure that we don't get in that sort of situation. Nobody wants that.
I'm sure.
But let it be clear, nobody is going to sit back and let our results, victory be stolen again.
Okay.
That will not happen.
All right. I think the message is clear.
But you see, the essence of on-the-spot counting is for everybody to know the results immediately.
I don't know why they want to say.
So you do on-the-spot counting. UDP wins the area, and you say you don't tell people you won. What kind of draconian?
No, that will be illegal. Actually, they cannot stop that. That will be illegal. They cannot stop that. We will all obey the law, or nobody will obey the law. It's as simple as that.
The practicality of.
Let me just say one thing. That you see, Senegal last year, the elections were still going on. It was all over.
Oh yes,
and by 9 o'clock, they knew who was the winner.
Yeah, and there are more votes.
And that's far more than us.
Okay, Mr.
On Guinea-Bissau, just one or two things.
Yeah.
If you watch former President Jonathan's video statement, he was very furious.
Oh yes, he was.
He was saying, these guys are playing with our minds in terms of telling us this is a coup. He says it's not a coup. And he says, let me emphasize.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah. He
says, I have to go and watch that video.
It's not a coup. I forwarded it to you guys.
Good, I'm going to have to go and watch it.
It's not a coup.
Good.
And he gave an analogy. He says, when I was a sitting president, I was defeated in the elections. When I saw trend-wise that I was I was being defeated, I picked up the phone and called Sagari and congratulated him. And I stepped down. Buhari, yes. Yeah. And I stepped down. He says, but this is not a coup.
He said, despite his anger,
okay.
of losing
can I just for a second there? Abdou Diouf did the same thing in Senegal in 2000. When he saw that he was losing, his people telling him, no, we can handle this. He said, no. He picked up the phone and called Wad and congratulated him. That's what we expect from a Democrat. Sorry, just want to make...
And Jonathan went on to say, West Africa is regressing because of these kinds of things. We have to decide whether we're going to be in a democratic dispensation or in a military regime, because he says, you look at the sub-region, the majority of the governments are now military.
Good.
And he also made a comment that anybody who knows coup d'etats, and he says, in Nigeria we know coup d'etats.
Yes.
Anybody who knows coup d'etats will know that this is not a coup, it was stage managed.
Yeah.
And then he says, who in their right minds will overthrow a government, you arrest the president, and you give him a phone to call media outlets?
Really?
He said those things.
Really?
For me, that at least Jonathan had the guts and the leadership and decency to call a spade a spade.
Oh, thank God.
What do we learn from this as far as this?
What we learned from this...
I remember you were mentioning something a long time ago.
What we learned from this is what we've been saying to Gambians for the last 3 years or so. To say, we are going into elections in 2026. Barrow has as far as we are concerned, Barrow has a three-pronged strategy. Prong one, to buy the elections. If money cannot buy the elections for him, he will rig the elections. And we are seeing incentives being given to specific groups in the country already. That is buying the elections. Inducements. If he cannot do that, he is going to rig the elections. And we are seeing the immigration department going all over the place to give ID cards to quote-unquote Gambians. And the third option is
create chaos.
To stand, lose the elections, refuse to vacate the office, step down, and create social chaos, suspend the constitution, and declare a state of emergency. Now, what happened in Guinea-Bissau can very well happen here. Because...
At least they can try.
Yes, they will try. Because when you see a couple of sitting ministers...
Honestly, that's...
One in Sandu, one in Opafuladu, in Sarengai to be specific, saying anybody who wants to vote, you are a Gambian, you are across the border, you can come, we'll register you, let's see who is going to stop you from voting. That was Demba Sabali in Sandu. Then Ahmad Ba in Sarengai basically said, this election is going to be different. Lu nekkal lañu jaral. Ajartañe fengo bele. So why and then Demba Sabali in another previous setting said we are ready to spill blood for Barrow to remain in power.
That is serious.
Yes.
Very
Basically
serious,
they are saying whatever
serious.
You do, whether you vote for us or not, we are not stepping down as a government. This is what the message they are sending. Whatever you do, we are not stepping down. And if necessary, we will spill blood to remain in power.
And that's why I say it takes two to tango, and we will all obey the law, or nobody will obey the law.
Yeah.
If they are prepared to spill blood to stay in power, let them be aware that we are also prepared to spill blood to maintain to protect our victory. Look, there is no turning the other cheek anymore.
Oh, well, anyway,
do you think they are rogue elements? We can be rogue as well.
Yeah,
We can be rogue.
I mean, I think that is a threat that has been issued for all of us.
And the threat will be met.
Every Gambian.
The threat will be met.
So
Okay.
we should be prepared for what they are going to be unleashing on us in
We are ready.
2026.
So
Now, the final point I want to make about Guinea-Bissau is that this arranged coup, the person who was appointed interim president, they say for 1 year, was the commander of Mbalo's presidential guards. They were colleagues in the army. The finance minister under Mbalo has been appointed prime minister, and he's going to concurrently continue as finance minister. So you see,
No, it's very clear.
it's very clear that this was stage managed.
Yeah.
It's a Paris coup.
And for me, what is actually most disheartening is this notion that I am going to lose, but I will not hand over to the opposition.
And let's see what you can do about
Yes,
it.
and let's see what you can do about it.
Okay, let's
I am not going to leave,
let's,
and I will not hand over to an
Okay.
opposition. I would prefer the army to take over than to hand over to the
Okay,
opposition.
I think that's very clear. The
But I
analysis.
just want to make a quick point there.
We can move on.
Yeah, nobody wants chaos in this country.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a military takeover in this country. But everybody will have to obey the rule of law. There isn't going to be a case where we're going to turn the other cheek and let them do all the illegalities they've been planning. If they want to go rogue, we'll all go rogue.
Okay.
But we'd rather not.
Okay. All right. I think that's very clear. The unfortunate thing is the regional body and the continental one, ECOWAS, EU, they seem to be dealing with the symptoms rather than the disease. You know,
They
every
are not
time.
even dealing with the symptoms.
Well, because you have these mischievous heads of state doing everything that they could to stay in power, instead of spending more time trying to, find a way of uplifting their citizens out of poverty. Anyway, we move on to the other one, which is about the 5-point agenda of the UDP, specifically on agriculture. If we can just compress something
we'll
about
compress
quickly,
it. Our friends have done it to us,
so that we have.
but we'll try to compress it. The agriculture component is agenda number 5-point agenda number 3.
Okay.
And the title was selected deliberately to say nutrition, agriculture, and food security. Because what we eat as citizens of a country matters a great deal in terms of our longevity, in terms of our lifespans. So that's why we included nutrition into the title. In a compressed way, UDP has committed to reforming the agriculture sector to make sure that there are sufficient, durable, affordable inputs to the sector, to make sure that mechanization is available and affordable to everybody who needs it, and to make sure that the structure of the pricing of produce reflects international market conditions. Now, the reason why it is important to reform the price structure is because the government has announced that they have allocated $2 billion to buy 50 tons of groundnuts. I don't know why you would actually even say, I'm going to buy only 50,000 tons of groundnuts.
Are they going to get that?
Well,
Because the
that's
tonnage
not
has
the
been
point.
coming down
The
over
point
years.
is you do
When
not
you get
say
it in 20.
you do not say I will put 2 billion, because the calculation is 2 billion will get them 50,000 tons. You leave it open and you buy all the produce that are being brought to the sector. You don't put a cap on it. But even that, these 50,000 tons, they are pegging it to $38,000 per ton. And for the past 3 years, the price of groundnuts has not increased.
Despite the cost of living?
Despite the cost of living, the inflation, rate of inflation
rate of inflation, they always tell you that it's coming down. But the reality is the cost of living.
You don't see it. But this is serious in the sense that for 3 years, they haven't increased the price of groundnuts. It's been at 38,000.
38,000, yeah.
And when you compare what they are paying to what obtains on the international market, you begin to see the anomaly in the pricing structure. I did some scanning around different markets, South America, North America, European countries, and also Asia and Africa. And I found that on average, the floor price for a ton of groundnuts is $500 US. The ceiling price, $1,200 per ton. Now, if you convert that into dollars in today's exchange rate, the floor price should be $35,000, and the ceiling is $85,000. They increased the floor price by $3,000 to pay $38,000. But when they buy that nut at $38,000, they're going to turn around and sell it on the international market, and they will fetch $85,000 maximum for it.
They want to close their gap of division.
Yes. So the pricing structure is not favorable to the farmers, and the farmers know the pricing structure is not favorable to them. They are threatening them to say, don't sell your nuts across the border, and they are making it almost impossible for independent buyers to buy their nuts. I saw a video on social media the other day, a farmer in my area. He says, this year I had a bumper crop, but I'm selling only 2 bags to take care of my immediate needs, hoping that some independent buyer will contact me. I can get more than what the government is.
I'm sure there will be a lot of threat about not buying cross-border.
They have already issued that.
But you
are not supposed to do that.
The market
don't take
doesn't
it to
work
Senegal.
like that. It's
Don't
like
give
water,
it
it flows to where.
Don't give it to independent buyers. So that structure has to be changed. I think the important message to be sent here is that for this country to develop the way we want it, like the Gambia we want, we have to focus on the agricultural sector, because the history of economic development itself suggests that you cannot develop a country without a vibrant agriculture sector.
Yeah.
The only country that has done that in the history of development economics is Singapore.
Yeah, because they don't have the land.
They don't have the land mass, but they were smart enough to set up service centers that made Singapore what it is today.
Yeah.
But all over the United States, the UK, France, Germany, Netherlands, Brazil, Argentina, it's the agricultural sector.
Even Europe itself, historically,
that is the engine of growth.
It was an agricultural revolution.
Yes, you use
revolution
agriculture, develop agriculture, and it has a spillover. You industrialize through that, and you create a rich set of people in the middle class who because of agriculture, would become millionaires immediately.
Okay.
So that is what I wanted to say. The reforms are going to come, but mostly pricing, mechanization, inputs, accessibility, market accessibility, and the ability to prevent post-harvest loss.
So it's not going to be more policy-based, mainly to
it's
have
going to be
structural
practical
kind of reforms.
And the party leader was with Lamin at the Gambia College, I think on Thursday. He raised these structural issues. And the structural issues are these 4 or 5 that I have mentioned. And he said we will focus on those things. They are already in our manifesto and are in the 5-point agenda.
I can see there is a lot of consistency in terms of what you intend to do, what you want the Gambia to be tomorrow. So, whether Mr.
Yeah, just a few points quickly, yes.
You can.
You see, if you look at what Larry was saying, the price of groundnuts has not increased for the past 3 seasons, 38,000. Yet, when you compare to the civil service salaries, they have increased 100%.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah.
Especially
over
the executive, legislature, and the judiciary.
Exactly. They've increased 100% over that same period. So these people who are the bulk of the workforce in the country have been neglected.
Over 70%.
The civil service in this country, all of those people being paid for by government, about 55,000 people, that's it. So the remaining 2.54 million have been neglected. Agriculture is the mainstay and main employer. If you don't increase prices for agriculture, agricultural produce, particularly groundnuts in this case, you are impoverishing the farmer. The Dalasi has been sliding over the past 3 years. The Dalasi went from 3 years ago, it was about almost $60 to the dollar. Today it's 74. So that's a huge depreciation of the Dalasi over that same period of time, which of course is reflected in the price of commodities. There has been a significant rise in inflation, which also diminishes the purchasing power of those people. So if you pay them the same price year in, year out for 3 years, you are impoverishing them further. Now, the government is telling us, oh, no, we're buying it at a loss and we're selling it at a loss. That doesn't make any sense to anybody. The prices that Larry gave, if you take the floor price and the ceiling price, the median price is about $800 in that range.
Yes.
And that median price is about $60,000 per ton.
Wow.
So which means the government, even if they sell at that median price, they are making a killing on the back of the farmer, which is unconscionable. Now, if that were to be the case, which is not, but if it were the case that they were selling at a loss, wouldn't it make much more sense to invest in processing the agricultural produce instead of selling it raw?
To add value.
Exactly. As the South Africans say it very nicely, I like that, the beneficiation.
I like that.
You add value. You add value to the product by processing it here and selling it. We are selling groundnut seeds to Europe and buying oil. And also, other forms of groundnut, for the hotel industry, for consumption. Why can't we do that processing here? We add value here, and we benefit from all the value chain, from the time of production to the time it reaches the table of the consumer. All that value chain we can be present in. We'll create jobs, we'll create more money, we'll create more wealth. Saro was one of those cases where we're trying to add value. Saro is dead. Yes, they are dead. Why can't we bring those back? Why can't we bring more processing into the whole system and work on the entire value chain? But this government has no clue what it takes to develop a country. So we are getting worse off. Final point. If you want to continue in that process, what is going to happen is the people in the groundnut sector are all going to move to other sectors.
And that is what is happening.
Or completely out of agriculture. So we have more and more unemployed. We have more and more people kids taking the back way.
Intensify poverty.
Exactly.
Because most of them are living there in the rural areas.
When we were kids, the Gambia was producing about 150,000 tons of groundnuts per year.
Yeah.
This year they're counting on buying 50. Last year they got over about 30,000 tons.
30,000.
This year they still got 50. I don't think they'll get 50. But conversely, Senegal this year, yesterday rather, the Prime Minister was talking about, they are planning on buying 960,000 tons of groundnuts, almost 1 million tons.
At what price?
302 CFA per kilo. That is the floor price.
It falls on this band, the 60,000.
So yes, that is just about 40,000, but that is the floor price, and they're probably going to increase it higher. So these people are working on ways of enhancing their productivity, and that is when they buy that, they're going to process most of it in Senegal. So they're going to present on the entire value chain. So the Sonacos, which is responsible, which is like our GPMB at the time, is back. Sonacos is back big time, and they are producing oil and all sorts of things, groundnut cake and peanuts for the hospitality industry,
and the paste itself.
And they are working on that, but we are not. So this is what this government is not doing, because this Minister of Agriculture has no clue as to how to develop this country and this agriculture. All he's interested in is spilling blood to keep Barrow in place. He has absolutely no clue. So if he were a good Minister of Agriculture, he would be thinking of inputs, improved seeds, fertilizers, chemicals where they are needed for pesticides and the like. Okay, he would be thinking of mechanization, not bringing tractors and selling them for 600,000 a year, 2.4 million over 5 years or 4 years to the farmers. Who can afford that?
And
they would be thinking
by the way, you give it to your supporters.
Yes, that's where it goes to. Which farmer can buy a tractor and pay 2.4 million for over 4 years? So they are not mechanizing agriculture. They are not doing anything to improve the value chain. They are not doing anything to get into processing. They are not doing anything to make the life of the Gambian farmer better and easier. As you say, Balu Sahayaring.
That's all I have about
They're not doing that. They're not doing that.
The basis of development was
so they don't care about Gambian farmers.
Lamin, when I was looking at this thing, I came across, I think it was Brazil, Argentina. They are doing exactly what Jawara was doing at GPMB in Saro. They sell the groundnuts as decorticated or undecorticated.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
And Saro, when you pass through there, you can
smell that.
nice oil and stuff. GPMB should not have been privatized in the first place.
You remember in Kanifing they had what they call HPS, hand-pick selection.
Yes.
The HPS, they were doing that.
So, we've lost
today,
it as
that's what it means, hand-pick selection.
Yeah, hand-pick selection. And today, even the storage, of the groundnuts is such that aflatoxin content is going up. And it's going to make our produce unmarketable. Because Europe has very stringent controls on aflatoxin.
In fact, in the international market, Gambia has been, through this research, Gambia has been designated as our peanuts are high aflatoxin content.
And aflatoxin is cancerogenious.
Just when I was at the EU, with this support for decentralized rural development, one of the programs within that is the agricultural sector, where we try to improve the seed quality. It was part of that program.
That aflatoxin is why we had this nutrition as part of the agenda.
So
I think we move on, but it's very fair that...
Before we move, just one final point I want to put there. Sorry for lengthening this. On the Jawara here, we had a seed multiplication unit. Which was doing improved seeds
in Yundum.
All of those things are dead in this country today.
Seed stores.
NARI, National Agricultural Institute, which is supposed to be spearheading agricultural research, is underfunded, is dying. So all this government is doing is killing of the agricultural sector.
I can see that UDP is very clear in terms of the vision on agriculture, and I only hope we can translate this in the local language later on. So let's move very fast now to the next topic, which is the national debt profile. It's a very serious issue because debt servicing, all our money goes into debt servicing. Very little is left for places like crucial sectors
capital
like
expenditure.
Agriculture. But then a lot is allocated for in terms of their own comfort and lifestyle in government. So who starts with that first? The national debt.
I have some figures.
Okay, go ahead. Because I want us to really complete this, and so that we can go into the local.
We have said these things before. The reason why we are bringing it back is because the government is gaslighting the fact that we are exaggerating the level of debt that this government has contracted. It is gaslighting. And at worst, it is obfuscating Gambians. When Jawara left in 1994, his total contracted debt was 3.47 billion. 3.47 billion. When Jammeh came, he increased it to 46.3 billion. From 3.47 billion to 46 billion. So in 50 years, Jawara and Jammeh contracted $49.5 billion in 3 years. In Barrow, when Barrow came in 1997, in 2017, he added $79.9 billion to that.
Alone.
Actually, it's more than that.
Yeah, this is their figure.
Okay, their figures, yeah.
This is their figures.
Yeah.
And why I say obfuscating is because they are not telling the truth about the exact level of debt that this country is in. According to them, 79.9 million is what he added to the is what he added to the debt portfolio in 9 years. But we all know there are hidden debts that they are not talking about.
The Senegal syndrome.
Yes, this is going to be worse than Senegal per capita, because when the truth finally came out, people will realize that the 128.2 billion that we are talking about is peanuts compared to what the actual figure is going to be. So we are saying the mere fact that Barrow's entire structure of the economy is what? Taxes, grants, and loans. That is the structure of our economy. That is the structure of the national budget. It's taxation, it is grants, and it is borrowing. So are we surprised that they borrowed $79.9 million billion since he came to power? No, we are not surprised. And you can actually juxtapose this to when Amadou Sane was finance minister. The budget allocations. We totally lost fiscal discipline when UDP left that government. And that needs to be emphasized.
Well, they like to say, but UDP were in the government before us. If you were holding the reins by that time, you can't understand
they are talking with their emotions.
Yeah, I think so.
When you look at, for 2 years running, Amadou has allocated 1.5 million for Meet the People store. Immediately after he left, it jumped up to about 30 million.
11 the first year, then 18 and 30.
18 and 30. So the damage started with Mambure, and Sidi Keita just obliterated the budget with it. The lack of fiscal discipline in this government is astounding. And you know, I saw in the social media sometime they gave him an award as the best African minister. This government,
how much did they pay for that award?
Yes, we like awards.
They pay for it.
We like awards. Me, I will give him an award when he leaves the government and his ministry is forensically audited and it shows this debt is more than 128. When that happens, I will, wherever he is, I will call him, I will personally congratulate him.
Okay. All right.
So that is a commitment I have made to this finance minister. I think I'll stop.
Okay, that's clear.
Yeah, quickly. You know, the 79 billion they're talking about, those are their curated figures.
Figures, yes.
The reality of the debt situation today is that we are $150 billion in debt.
Don't let me collapse here.
That is the reality.
They are reporting 128 billion.
I think we need some oxygen in this room.
Yes, they say 128 billion, 130, but the actual figure is $150 billion. And what Jammeh and Jawara left together, the cumulative amount for 51 years was actually, they're playing with figures there too. It's the still curated amounts they're giving. Jawara and Jammeh cumulatively over 51 years was $46 billion. Barrow, since he came to power, has added $104 billion to that, to take it to $150 billion. And now they're trying to play with our minds, telling us, no, our critics are saying, the critics are telling you what is the truth. And that amount of 150 does not include the contingent liabilities we have.
We have on the books.
The contingent liabilities include what? They include the $75 billion currency swap from Afrexim Bank.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about
the 200 million.
The 200 million given to private investors, 10 companies to make import food stuff and make it easy, cheaper.
And the 50 million
it
to
doesn't
Jawel.
include that. If you add those two, the 75 million Afrexim Bank swap, without the interest, without anything else, just that amount, the capital alone, because by the time we pay that back, we'll be paying over $100 million in terms of the interest payments, in terms of the coupons, in terms of the capital payments. We'll be paying well over $100 million. We'll pay about $50 million more on top of the 75. So we're paying about $125 million back on that Afrexim Bank over 5 years. Not even the long term, like 20, 30 years, it's a 5-year period, right? We are owing that $200 million in contingent liabilities to the private sector. If you add those two, we have over $20 billion extra on our debt. But that is contingent liability, so we don't add that. So if you add it, we have $170 billion. And this also includes the other hidden debts that are not on the books, which if you talk about today, everyone will say, oh no, they are lying. But that will come out when these people go and the forensic audits are conducted.
I remember
when Usman Sonko was saying in Senegal that their contingent liabilities and the hidden debt are over 1 trillion CFA. People are saying, is he crazy? They were making fun of him. When they found out that they have over 5 trillion CFA in hidden debt. And as Larry said, per capita, what we will find in the Gambia will be worse than Senegal.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it.
So this government continue to playing games and telling us stories. And just to conclude, most of that debt, we have nothing to show for it.
Yep.
And a lot of it is taken to do what?
Have the highway for...
Yeah, where we paid $9.27 million for a kilometer of highway.
About 9 million per kilometer.
9.27 million.
My goodness.
Yes, and that excludes the...
You can build one up to Kudang, you know.
Up to Basse. And that excludes the 500, the amount they've allocated this year in the budget for the same road construction. It excludes that. But you see, those loans, most of the time, when you take a loan to do the kind of infrastructure investment, because they are capital intensive but low returns, if any return at all. So what you do is you borrow concessional loans, very low interest and at very high rate and very long term. But what they borrow those loans for 18-20% payable over 3 to 5 years, which makes it even more expensive and difficult for us. That is the government we're dealing with. They have no clue. Nobody invests in, particularly in the developing world, you never invest in infrastructure using short-term loans from the private sector at very high interest rates. You do it over a long period of time, 20, 30, 40 years, with grace periods of 5 years, 3 to 5 years, and interest payments of 2 to 3%. That's what you do.
Now, I think what we can do now, the rest of the topics like meet the people store and allocation, we do that in the local languages now.
Okay.
And we start with the people store. We can come back to some of these things because they are quite
they are linked.
Exhaustive. So now with the people store, is it political? Is it propaganda? Is it a genuine tool to know the conditions of the farmers if you don't even provide enough? Sa imbatunga na dia mo local language jola because time manta si topic fulale to daje wolem meet the people store and in allocation of menke of 84 million alkalon in sebo amanga kacha wala ba baita man kodo provide agriculture mol fon be balula men na me alonko wala ka foreign estate na fe foire abe siari wo ma fon lele ima o man sahano damen. But you can spend on all these things and in political diamo. Maybe in Singapore.
Okay. Ajube biring Amadou Sane be la remi for science. Biring Amadou Sane Minister of Finance ya. Ninga bitani mbanku tamola. Campaign yo lemo. Ika million kileni wuli kemel wule dia. Million kileni to ko dia la no. Yo dia 2017 yo dia 2018. Bire Amadou Botaje doron yalla ko ka Amadou Bulokun to adaba ko ko
ate fawale ka ofu
ha barole ko funu ko dam Bulokun Amadou Bulokun ta adaba ko ngol ko futala jibola sa boko so nako do dilala bire mambure njaay na to kay ko ande te bulu ka fton kumbali ngoto mbatu nga dila So we million tanning killing deal in 2019. Ako master wal to butu kasele dos o jaro million tanning se that million tan sa million tan ñinang birabe tay ko million tan nan fulal deal bari sawo say kamin deal natara meeting wala aka min jo kamin dépense aka siawti bakel seri ko million tan nan fulal deal non million tan sa wala deal million taworo nin kilin dépense
taworo nin double
ñi nay ko million tan nan fulal deal be bandela wata minna ni ma million taworo lo ma asintere jari ko million tallul nin fula ani wuli kemelu ibe million tan se makar sa jarmu election yelete wala fa be ko do tiñala fama so la million la fami fula ni ajube million tan nani de lulo min fama estaf la million tan nani fulo min diala serum ani ñi nay million tan nani lulo min parande pour jari yo million tan lulo nin fulo million lulo diala dron ni UDP si masakunda sente million lulo fama sambara ñin tola o million tan nano mitla million tan nani lulo isi karambun dingol university karandingol isi mo wuli killing na karambu joje mo wuli killing because karambu University of the Gambia tuition fee wuli tan nani kata wuli tan nani lulo on average so ni hani wuli tan nani lulo ni ko university student la karambu joje o mo wuli killing so la karambu joje so ne wuli killing karandi Gambia jam yemiro min sambal lam banko kan nafata o le min sambal la nyim banko kan karo londo bi ka wala tano mobul so nyanta wala kuma yande bar hani lo katal don karake bu ni tara don e tantangol lo e tabir balike yem bu mbayo kay saw andu nyin to mun nafa munati yetta enim banko dingole si senelalo ani mun bata ko no miskino ya fo nyine mun na bata dalti mako e nyin to jare fo nyin bata si bonkan ali sele kacha wala ya safi yenanan yita cabinet ala projet gold da ali wolu implement for da hay france da haso ni bo kala nyam ama sule mas kunda be ko naita minister kilim fula sabana siyat anin permanent secretary danta wala director danta kay tata dawda mi dawo kamen fo itara dawda director of education bijel director of agriculture bijel director of health bijel lulle kuma yata baake ina woti silon ina mula anin sefo la kala kacha ya fa mbi lafta sura min ya safe yana nan ina ta lissi ya do ko ko do dundi woto alkanta ko do tinya mbumbaay wala anin campagne parce que mu campagne sawo san campagne wala so ali woke ne lo keton ko mo banta son to lafta ni UDP sita be wala kala
okay
be ko do talal kende ke ngar di senela la ni mul sura tala to do ko de da bet nyala yimbe
okay Larry, maybe it is diamo nyamba about because in campaign diamo siata instead of meet the farmers to the more open call, the Kankalo open call, the Seful open call.
Ani almamoli
ani almamol from call and the Pomajak. They did not call from a binge. But he had to do the work Koran or Karan.
I know. New to my
Kurano Dumbuga to ye.
New to my Sembeta.
Ah, and this guy and Jack.
No, laughter Mela Laminium footing. Ka ñi midi farmers to nafulo men doron kadunje anin ika nafulo ñin domo ñamen ni momu ya je kulon ibalon na ko ñi mol man serious kalon ñi midi people store jawara la gwato la datete ka fa midi farmers store idea men be midi farmers store wala mu yeta ni la mo dantan nal crosta bara leta North Bank al nin North Bank ol director men bije ye samba fo inyanta meeting kala dulal mento fo North Bank ni CRR nane o te di CRR ngol ye di same thing kije CRR ni URR nane o to ye di mola CRR no ala nyim middi people store political kola tustije yaje mbade ngolu nim ma wofo mantara sobe afokan ni aje ngawfo midi people store ite ko ikata e nim woli kacha bari wala suloli la nyantoli buka diamu wala
ndole kante jakala
ni wote ni midi people store anyanta molla cost of living na danyine ko na lopitan kuo na karambun kuo na agriculture kuo sako abe tiyo wafila sanna moluma menna wol be nyanta fola nyim kono bari ay kabribe dunna nan kombole tiyo daf
General
to kom e tiyo daf west coast e tiyo da men fanam fo niawo nin banta bankol la da ye compare ye banta bankol la tiya daji be gambe la tiya daji be balon na ko nyul man tol muta fenti na dokulal senelal man muta fenti ndenga jibe le South America, Latin America, Brazil ning Argentina, North America ka tiyo doku southern states, particularly Georgia, North of Jibe, Europe fana, aning Asia, aning Africa. Tiyo kasam menna, natra ko asanta nyama. Barona la mansa kunda serious te nyanta tiyo sanna molma menna. Dunia banku molu ka ke dola kemelul wala mu dati mealon ka doyata dola kemelul dol ka samba fo dola wuli killing anin keme fula $1,200 bita for 85,000
wuli tanse wuli lulu
yes lulu bari niaji be
tono
tono
itol ko wuli tansa
ba wuli say niaji be o wuli tansa ba wuli sayo nyinanda musanje sabati ka wala ka mol jo wala la tiyo
anu balo
be selekan karambunjo be selekan loptan ko be selekan niya sotono. So niaji be to abol kaf moy average a temanko nyanta damen dila molla at least asidoa nyaonya $60,000 wuli tawor tono
okay
katu na da kolata ka wuli tansa inin lullet. So there is no reason why ite wuli taworo ni ta jono la fo wuli taworo la ni lul
okay
bari Senelal nyanta menlon ikanying meng sa ibulu 38,000 ni tol ba wafi ka wafi wuli tansa ni lulla ka wafi mol ma wala so ila profito wakata min
okay
kat wo buka dum
nyanta mon da Senelal
yo
anyway
so mol salo wonya ko nyil imam mol khati ila nyim mid people store demba sabale ko momo ni lafta carte o fayla yena ibe carte o fayla sa jibe jumala be balin la carte fa amat ba ko ni election o jarte fengo bel so nim fengo ni o jarte fengo bel woto Senelal fanan ila Senel tio anyanta jarle fengo bel.
Okay, all right. Allah baraka bake. Thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of the program. Unfortunately, we couldn't cover all the topics mentioned, but we'll come back to it again. These are topics that are relevant most of the time. And the one we have left out is the $84 million allowance for CFOs and alcalos. Even the agricultural aspect, we could have done much wider kind of discussion. Ngamambe danna janne wato en jamfale na wada mbading surwal fanam bolo say munu ñoo wax affaire ci en wolof because time bi def ñu dab mba dañu waxtaan rek courant bi dem yoon as usual so yeb lekk na ci suñu waxtaan bi waaye dinañ continuer parce que yiñ bëgg a wax mooy agriculture bi lan lay UDP di def foofu leen yëfi bor yiñ am ci dëkk bi yëfi people store bi nañ def nii ak dafa am xaalis biñ dénka pour li ñoo joxe CFO yi alkaalo yi ay imaam yi yooyu yëpp mun nañ koo waxtaan beneen yoon so ngeen baalal ñu because mun ñoo cover yooyu yëpp ba beneen yoon. I would like to thank Mr. Mane and Mr. Cisse as usual for this kind of informative kind of discussion on some of these very important topics. Formule ko sai ngam nyim sonyin na ko man sekunda men bije amamul na fal laftala nyamen UDP meta kuma kilngor folanda ka tu wole kana findi ay tonya ya ko sai nga opportunity di UDP la nga jube mu nebe bolaje so lafta ngal tentu ngal jayi about that thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.